Welcome to the third month of the A Build a Week series, where I build once a week. Every week we will have a new theme and set of builds, although this month will be a bit different, as I will be explaining later. Real quick, I do just want to clarify, this is not a tutorial series on how to build these exact builds, but on my thought process when building them. Hopefully you can take some tips out of this video, and I did actually leave some tips at the end of this video on how I built the cliff. Or maybe you have some ideas on how I can improve, which I would love for you to leave in the comments. Now, let's jump in. Hello, my name is Flip, and welcome to A Build a Week. This week, we're going to be building a lighthouse on this cliff. This week, we're going to be doing the terraforming, and next week, we'll be building the lighthouse itself, since this month I only have 2 weeks to record. The first thing that we're going to do in this world is I'm going to frame out what I want this cliff to look like. We're mostly going to be following this vanilla terrain that's here, and I just showed you a time lapse, but I did clear a lot of the trees. We'll probably be clearing out more of them later. I haven't decided yet. I might do custom trees and stuff for this area, but I'm not sure if I will yet. So we're just leaving this for now. I just wanted to clear off anything that would get in the way up here and on here. Yeah, so we're probably going to be terraforming from around this area to over here. And we're mostly following the shore. Let's get to work framing stuff out. Alright, so as you can see, I've done a little bit of shaping. It doesn't look very good because the mud doesn't really match with the cliff. But if I change it, you'd see it looks a lot better, and didn't get that bit, but that's okay. This is the main focus anyways, so let's just show this real quick. But yeah, as you can see, most of what I did was make this cliff a bit more pointy. Based on the reference photo that I have, a lot of the rock looks like there's sheets that have kind of slid down into the ocean. And that's kind of what I was trying to reflect. I think it'll look a whole lot better once it's textured. In this bit, I don't know. I think I did a lot better of a job over here when it's a little taller. But yeah. Okay, so our next step is going to be filling in all of the texture. And I'm going to send you over to me in my creative world where we're going to put together a little gradient, or I will have put together a little gradient and I'll show it to you. Alright, so I've put together this kind of gradient. It's not exactly a gradient. It's more like the some blocks I think might work pretty well for this cliff. And I did do this. It doesn't look great because it's not really supposed to be the cliff. It's just kind of... I was double checking that I like the blocks. So let's actually look at that first. So as you can see, and I'm actually going off of a specific picture. Maybe I'll put it on the screen. First up, we've got some darker blocks at the bottom. Those ones would be wet specifically, but I also like the idea of the rock at the bottom being a little bit darker. And then as you go up, it gets a little lighter. And we're keeping this very brown. It's still supposed to be rock, but the specific picture I looked at, the rock was very brown. It wasn't very stone or stereotypical stone like you might think it would be. And then in the middle there, we've got like a stripe of different rock. Yeah. And then going up, we get back more into a little bit of brown, mushroom block, up, and then it gets really white, and I think our main topmost blocks are gonna be very white, and then we'll get back into the grass. And I just really like this idea of the really bright blocks that would be in the sun all day every day. And it's kind of like, I don't know what they're called, but those very white cliffs in, I think they're in Ireland or Greenland or somewhere. But they're very white cliffs, and they don't look exactly like how you would think of cliffs most of the time. But yeah, I think this is a pretty cool color scheme. Yeah, and then let's look at what these blocks actually are. So we got mud for the very, very bottom, and then dark oak wood, spruce wood, and then we've got mud, which I did bricks and packed mud. And I think it could be both or either or, I don't know. I like both because of the texture. And then tough and deep slate is our little stripe there. oh, I broke it, but that is coarse dirt. And then when we're getting back into the brown, we've got coarse dirt, mushroom blocks, and then oak planks, birch planks, sandstone, and calcite. And then I put green blocks up there, but they'll most likely be back a little bit on the cliff, helping to blend it back into the grass later. But yeah, so this is what I think our cliffs are going to look a little bit like. I'm going to tweak this a little bit more. I really like how this looks. I think that the pictures I found are from Oregon. But yeah, I have two main reference photos. One of them is from a random Instagram account. I'm probably not going to show that one because I don't know who posted it. I might show it. I don't know. You'll see. Whatever. And the other one is a photo of this little arch on the beach. I'm not really sure. Let me check where that's from. From CNN. So I'll probably be able to show that one. Yeah. So now that we've got this idea of what exactly we want our cliff to be, how I want it to be colored, we will get to work on filling in all of the color on the cliffs in the other world. Alright, step 1 done. I filled in mud. It's kind of hard to see a little bit. I filled in mud for all of the stone underwater. Yeah, so we've got a hard line here, which is where we're going to end the cliff on this side. We're going all the way around to right here, which is where we're going to end the cliff on this side. I think over here we might do a waterfall or something. Because I think it'll be weird if it just stops. So yeah, we'll have to decide on that. We could have a river that goes like that. That'd be interesting. But, you know. Our next step is to fill in the dark oak, and then spruce. And so, in case it wasn't obvious, the mud is supposed to be the very wet stone. So this is going to be mostly in the water, a little bit above, like it's splashed. And then the dark oak is going to be damp. So this would be sort of in areas where the water has been recently. I don't know if it would really show where the water's just been damp, but I think it'll look good on this. And if nothing else, water does tend to leave lines where it sits at usually, so I think it'll look cool. Alright, I'm gonna fill in the dark oak wood and then the spruce, and then I'll come back and check in with y'all. Cool. Alright, as you can see, I have gotten my dark oak and spruce in, and I also moved some of the mud around a little bit. Okay, so as I said, the mud is meant to be bits of stone that are currently very wet, so this would be spots where the waves are really crashing. I mean, as you can see, it's kind of calm, but we would imagine the ocean's a little less calm than Minecraft, but you know. Anyways, so waves would be breaking right here a lot, and I think this would be splashing up quite a bit. And then all these mud bits are spots where the waves kind of splashed against the rocks and made them a little more wet than the bottom bits, maybe. And like a few spots like this where it's just sprayed. And then the dark oak is kind of where the water level is. So, if you know anything about tides, maybe this would be high tide, and the water's just kind of gone down a little bit. And then spots, especially around where the waves have been breaking, I think it'd be a little bit more wet. So I've got the darker wood. And then we've got spruce wood all around that, and this is like barely damp, but it's mostly a transition to the next color, which would be completely dry stone. So yeah, that is our next step, is to put in the mud and mud bricks. And yeah, we'll continue heading up the cliff. One thing I have noticed, or I've kind of realized while doing this, is this bit isn't very tall. So I'm wondering if I'm gonna run out of space if the gradient goes up. Like, this is a lot more space. So I don't know what I'm gonna do over here just yet. I think like spruce wood's gonna have to be only like one block layer, And we might have to bump some of the dark oak down a little bit. I don't know. But yeah, I'll keep working on it and going around. I'm going around with the mud, and then I'll check back in and I'll let you know what I do over there. Alright, so we've got our mud and mud bricks in. They're a little bit harder to see. They work really well with this dirt. But yeah, you can see that they're in. I tried to use the mud bricks because they appear a little bit darker as shadows. And the normal packed mud to... Oh, that's the wrong button. To just be the normal layer bit. But yeah, I think it looks pretty good. And we're ready to move on to the next layer. So the next layer, if you remember, is the tough and the deep slate. And it makes a kind of a stripe. I'm still contemplating changing the blocks for that one. But yeah, I'll get to work on that and I'll let you know if I do change it. I can always put it in and change it later anyways, so not too big of a deal in the end. Yeah, I'll get right to work on that and I'll see you in a few minutes. Alright, so as you can see, we're pretty much finished actually. Sorry if I sound weird every now and again. I'm still recovering from that cold. Alright, so let's go over it. I think that the last time I talked to you was around this level, but I've since obviously filled in all of this. I think I'm going to be showing you a time lapse. Don't hold me to that, don't know. Anyways, so we've got now this band of tough and deep slate. I think it looks pretty cool. It's a little bit, it's different from most of the rest of the cliff, which I think is not a bad thing. I think it looks cool. And then we've got coarse dirt, mushroom block, oak, birch, sandstone, and calcite. And the first time I did this, I forgot about the sandstone and I just did all calcite and it was way too bright. I like how the sandstone here is more yellow and it fits more with the birch. And then the other thing I forgot on the first pass was just to put moss up here. And I think the green really helps it. It looks a lot better this way than it did before we had the moss. And yeah, I think it looks pretty cool. Over here, where this is a lot lower, we don't have any of the lighter blocks. We also don't have like tough or the mushroom blocks, and I've got it just transitioned straight into moss. I think wherever the moss is like at the tops, it's just kind of going to take over the rest of the stone anyways. So this stuff might be like there, but it's under the grass and the plants at this point. So yeah. I hope you like it. Oh yeah, another thing is this little outcropping, or this little ridge, I think would be the correct word for this. Which is just, I think it's cool. It's just got a little ridge of the tough and deep slate. Yeah, I don't know what else to go over. I think it turned out not quite what I was originally going for, but I still do really like how it looks, which is why I'm keeping it. So I think that's where we're gonna leave it for today. I might make some more tweaks next week, and the other thing is next week we're gonna be building the lighthouse up here, and I think that'll look super sick. Yeah. Some tips that I learned while building this is to trust the process. It didn't look very good when it was just down in the dirt bit, but it started to look better the taller it got. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like a lot of cliffs are usually this gray color mostly, but I like that this one is more brown in a lot of places. Gosh, I haven't recorded in 2 weeks now. I'm very out of practice. Or 3 weeks, I guess. Okay, I'm just gonna say bye now. Goodbye. I hope you enjoyed the episode. See you next week.